So the anime kicks off in this tiny-ass village. Inside this modest little house, we meet our guy, Arel. Just your average dude waiting for his awakening. His family's hyped like he's about to drop a mixtape, but Arel's there acting all chill, like he already knows the punchline. See, in this world, when you hit 10, you get assigned a class. It's basically fantasy puberty but with loot drops. Whole ceremony, church involved, the works. First kid gets warrior, next one mage, you know the drill. Then comes Arel's turn, and the crowd's ready to witness greatness, cause his mom's Farah, the princess of the sword, and his dad's Leon, the goddamn sorcerer king. So the priest does his little hocus pocus thing, and bam, results come in. Arel's got nothing, zero, nada, no class. Homie didn't even qualify for unemployed. The priest like, that is your class. Bro, imagine telling a kid his life's purpose is literally to not have one. Everybody's confused. A few days later, my man Arel's still out there training. His parents tell him to chill. Since he was little, his mom's been training him with a sword, which sounds wholesome until you realize this woman could probably bisect a mountain. Not having a class just means he has to make up for it with sheer violence and repetition. One day, he goes to the training field and bumps into two discount swordsmen showing off their moves like they're auditioning for background NPC roles. They find out he's classless and start clowning on him. Arel just says he's there to train. They flex their skills a bit and Arel's like, cool tricks, want a 1v1? Before they accept, one asks if he's got divine protection, basically fantasy insurance that prevents instant death. Arel nods, says everyone's born with it, but it runs out if you get your ass beat too hard. Hey, start fighting. And holy hell, despite his no-class status, Arel moves surprisingly well. He studies their crappy coordination, parries one, trips the other, and suddenly both of them are eating dirt. They whine about it being a dirty move, and I'm like, bro, this ain't chess. You lost. Deal with it. Then this red-haired hothead shows up. He scolds them for crying like little girls in a sword fight, then looks at Arel like he just found his next ego victim. He warns him not to get cocky and says he'll show him what a real swordsman looks like. Turns out this guy's the son of Captain Evans, a master swordsman who used to tag along with Arel's mom on demon hunts. Apparently, this kid's tired of people comparing his dad to Farah, so he wants to beat Arel to prove his family isn't mid-tier. Arel just smirks and says his mom's the strongest in town and he's not planning to lose. The redhead says he trains just as hard and doesn't feed his ego. They start dueling. Arel quickly realizes the guy's actually good. Fast, angry, predictable. Redhead swings wild cause he's pissed and Arel waits for that perfect counter moment. But suddenly, the dude whips out a double slash. Arel blocks the first, eats the second, and goes flying. Stunned, he's like, how the hell you do that? And the dude's like, anyone can learn it. Then he admits Arel's got guts. Next morning, Arel wakes up cause his sister's threatening to kiss him if he doesn't get up. Which, yeah, great motivation and a terrible family dynamic. He eats breakfast, tells everyone he's off to train again. His sister snitches to their parents saying he hasn't stopped training since that fight. Sunrise to sundown, no breaks. Mom just sips her tea like, yeah, I know my boy. But when the girl keeps worrying, she drags her to a storage room, opens a chest, and it's filled with broken swords. Every single one destroyed by Arel's relentless training. Meanwhile, Arel's in the forest going full Rocky montage mode. He's been at it so long, he actually manages to pull off the double slash. He's feeling all proud and shit when suddenly, bam, Goblin sneaks up from behind. But Arel's reflexes are on point. He tries out his new move, slices the little bastard clean, and feels like a total badass for about 2 seconds, until he hears a massive roar echoing through the woods. Now, if this were any other dude, he'd sprint back to town screaming for help. But nah, Arel hears a kid screaming instead and runs toward the noise. He hides behind a tree, peeks out, and holy hell, it's the same redhead guy from before bleeding out while facing off against a massive goblin. Without thinking twice, Arel jumps in, hits that shiny double slash, and turns the goblin into forest confetti. The redhead's shocked, then even more shocked when he sees who saved his ass. Arel, barely standing, gives the guy one of his own potions. The redhead gulps it down, recovers instantly, and just stares like, how the hell did you kill that thing? Arel's like, double slash. And the redhead's like, bullshit, that move takes skill. Only trained fighters with special abilities can do that. Arel shrugs and says, yeah, that's true. So I just practiced until my arm stopped working. Man basically learned a pro-level skill out of pure spite. Then Arel adds that he's been thinking about the redhead almost every day, in a totally non-sus way, because he hates losing. He wanted a rematch so bad, he trained until he broke half the trees in the forest. The redhead, hearing that, smiles and goes, well then, let's settle it here. Arel's like, you sure? I did just save your ass. And the guy's like, exactly why I owe you a fight. They start brawling again, but then bam, a third slash comes out of nowhere. The guy's like, the hell was that? And Arel's grinning saying, that's the third slash. Not a special skill, not a blessing, just me being better. Redhead's jaw drops. Arel asks if he wants to go again, and of course, the redhead's like, hell yeah, I don't do second place. They clash once more, and when the dust settles, the redhead's flat on his back again. The redhead's pissed. Arel just walks away. A few days later, while everyone's chilling, Farah tells Leon that Evans's kid left for a city called Brescia. Arel's like, what's that? And his mom explains it's the City of Swords, where every day is basically a festival for maniacs with blades. She even says she lived there back in her youth, swinging her sword daily. Arel's eyes light up, thinking it might be the perfect place to get even stronger, even without a class. Fast forward 5 years later, we're in a carriage heading toward Brescia. Some veteran adventurers are along for the ride. They're geeking out about going to the City of Swords when the driver suddenly yells that the road's blocked by monsters. Great timing. Orcs appear, everyone panics. The experienced adventurers? Yeah, they dip. They're not risking their lives for anyone. Heroism ain't in a paycheck. Then this hooded figure steps out of the carriage. Surprise? It's Arel. Draws his blade and dives in like it's Tuesday. The driver's just standing there like, holy shit, this kid's cracked. Then he realizes Arel's using the Dance of Swords, a supreme class technique that only one person in history ever mastered, the Princess of the Sword. And, plot twist, that move's supposed to be exclusive to women. Arel finishes the fight, every monster dead. The barbarian dude finally asks, bro, what class are you? Arel just says, none, and they all lose their damn minds. So our boy Arel finally makes it to Brescia. A city so full of swordsmen is basically a walking testosterone contest. You sneeze here, and 10 guys with great swords ask if it was a duel invite. The carriage driver tells him, yo kid, you should join a guild. That's how people make a living here. Then he adds, but don't go joining random-ass guilds. Some of them are sketchier than Craigslist hookups. Arel starts walking through the city, checking out a bunch of guilds, yelling at passers-by like used car salesmen. Suddenly, this blonde chick pops up and tries to talk to him, but my dude sidesteps like she's a tax collector. She giggles all flirty and goes, never seen you around before. You looking for a guild? Then she whips out a damn contract like she's about to scam him into a mobile game subscription. Arel's like, nah, only desperate-ass guilds take newbies like me. She gasps, all fake offended. Excuse me, my guild's actually famous. When Arel doesn't bite, she pulls out the big guns. She's like, if you join, I'll spend a whole day on a date with you. And my man deadpans, sorry, I don't date girls built like cutting boards. Jesus, Arel, straight to the jugular. Then he asks which guild's the strongest. The blonde, trying to keep her ego from flatlining, huffs and says, that'd be Black Sword. They've got 8 A-rank swordsmen. She even points him the way, so he goes, right? Shows up to Black Sword's fancy-ass building. The guard stops him and goes, you need to take a test to join. Inside, the receptionist looks at him and asks what class he's got. Arel says, none. Receptionist? Then get the fuck out. Everyone in the lobby starts whispering like a bunch of gossiping moms. No guild will take a classless loser. Then, right as he's about to leave, Blondie pops up again like a damn side quest you can't skip. She mocks him for not getting in anywhere and goes, "Why not join my guild?" Arel just gets up and leaves. No words, cold-blooded. She runs after him though, desperate as hell, saying her guild might get shut down if she can't find new members. She even drops to her knees, begging. He turns around and she realizes he's already gone, but she doesn't give up. Oh no. Blondie tracks him down again. She points ahead and says, "That's my base." Arel looks up and sees a massive-ass building, which is weird because if they're begging random strangers to join, things clearly went downhill fast. She admits it too, says the guild used to be one of the strongest, but now it's basically running on nostalgia and debt. Then she gets this dramatic look in her eyes and goes, "As long as the King of Two Swords leads us, Dragonfang will never die." And that's when Arel's brain connects the dots. That's his mom's old guild. They walk in and she introduces him to her dad. The dude's sitting there drunk off his ass, nursing a bottle like it's his last friend in the world. Arel looks at him and goes, "So that's the King of Two Swords?" Yikes. The man squints at him and says, "Kid, do yourself a favor and leave. This guild's already dead." The blonde looks down, quietly telling Arel that her father used to be one of the top 2 swordsmen in all of Brescia until he lost an arm. After that, well, the bottle became his new blade. He says he could try joining another guild, but none would take him anyway. Lilia checks the document and freezes. There's no class written. Now she goes full psycho mode, grabs a sword, gives him that smile before the stabbing face, and says if he wants to stay alive, he better cancel that contract right now. Then, just as she's about to lose it, a redhead walks in, Reiner. She's all calm, like, what the hell's going on here? The name Arrel hits her brain like a thrown brick. Wait, that Arrel? She steps closer, sees his face, and yeah, that's him. She blushes, trying to act cool, and says, "We're from the same village. We used to train together." Arel squints. Don't remember training with any girl that gorgeous. Smooth. Arel adds, "Though I do remember sparring with a kid who had hair kinda like yours. Evans' son or something." Reiner tilts her head. Evans didn't have a son. He had me. Then Reiner smirks and says, "Since we're reunited, how about a rematch? I've gotten way stronger since back then." And Arel, being the guy who can't say no to pain, accepts instantly. Cut to the training field. Reiner charges in. Her stance, her form, everything's sharp as hell. She swings, same move she used years ago.
She laughs, says, "I told you, I'm not that weak girl anymore. My blade's heavier, my strength's doubled." The fight gets brutal. Sparks, dust, everything shaking. Arel realizes he's not gonna win by doing the same old shit. She swings her blade, hits dead on, except she doesn't, because the bastard she hit, just an after image. My man's behind her already. Giving her a knockout hit so clean is basically disrespectful. Reiner stunned. She's like, wait, how the hell did a classless dude just pull off a supreme sword technique? And Arel, chill as a monk on meds, goes, "I just trained hard and got fast." Then Reiner flexes, all serious. She starts talking about how power swordsmen have insane endurance, that little hits won't even scratch her. And Arel's like, cool story, before pulling out a move his mom taught him, acquired counterattack. Reiner can't believe it. She's been training her ass off for 5 damn years just to get clapped again. She stands up, all red-eyed and trying to act tough. "I'm not crying." She runs off, muttering about how life's unfair. Arel turns to Lilia and goes, "Okay, so what's the deal with this broke-ass guild?" And Lilia, looking like she's about to confess a crime, whispers the number of their debt. Then she adds, "There's a guild competition coming up in a week, but the catch? They need at least 5 members to join, and they've only got 3. So yeah, they were desperate enough to recruit the no-class wonder. Arel's like, wait, Reiner's still here despite all that? And Lilia explains that Reiner got rejected by every guild in town, but when her dad took her in, she swore loyalty.
Pretty noble stuff. Lilia, looking all nervous, mentions again that they'll be fighting full 5-man teams. Aurel just shrugs. Good. The tougher the fight, the faster I'll improve. As they talk, the guild masters in the shadows watching them.